In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can.
Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone. Welcome to the tech zone. We on our tech flow, and it's still a global market in case you didn't know. So many guests, we not trying to impress. Just wanna pass off the info. You can do the rest. See, there's no escaping tech. It's part of our lives. Keep every individual connected worldwide. But all this innovation is more than entertainment. It's people like you paving a new way every day. So let your imagination run wild with all the things that you dream about. Cause the tech zone is on now with Paul Amadeus Lane. Blah. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Tech Zone. What's going on? I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. You are in the Tech Zone, ABC News Radio Cayman. Welcome one, welcome all. And don't forget, you can check out the show on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker. Gosh, we have just exploded with our distribution where you can check out the show. If you're not listening to it live, you can always subscribe and check out the other different formats. We're on every major podcast service out there too as well, so you can always keep up with the Tech Zone. Also, if you have a Google Hub, you can say, hey Google, play Tech Zone, Paul Amadeus Lane. Playing Tech Zone, I'll tell you that too. Gotta love technology. I love it, love it, love it. Don't forget you can connect with me, PaulAmadeusLane.com. Send an email, send a message about a product you'd like for us to talk about on the show. Any cool tech stories out there of startups that you may know personally, please let us know and hit us up. We got you covered. On the show today, we are going to continue to highlight some of the great tech that we witnessed at CES 2020. Some of the great innovation out there, great stories, great people that we met on the floor of CES. And we're looking forward to, if God's willing, CES 2021. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah. So coming up in our last segment of the show, we're going to take a journey through a timeline of a company that's been around for 100 years. They were there at CES, kind of a retrospect of their 100-year anniversary. They played homage to the company and the brand over the last 100 years, how it started off in one area and ended up to where it is today. It's truly an amazing story, so we're going to talk about that in our third segment of the show. Second segment, we're going to deal with all you DIYers out there. Do you like home projects? When you watch some of these home improvement shows, you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do this project. There's a company that I met at CES 2020 that shared with me a piece of innovation that makes those DIY projects pretty easier. And we won't get upset with our family members as we do it. You know how it happens. I do the same too sometimes. But so you don't want to miss that coming up in the second segment. In the first segment, we are going to talk about how technology has touched every facet, every industry. You know that. We talk about that ad nauseum. I ran into a legend who created stars that we all know today. I'm talking about Jamie Foxx. I'm talking about D.L. Hughley, the late Robin Harris. I ran into the person who was responsible for helping them launch their careers, and had an opportunity to talk to him about what he was doing at CES 2020, some stories of how he created or helped create these legends, and how technology is helping him in 2020.
When it comes to entertainment, it's just how technology has played a part that we can consume as much entertainment as possible. We have Netflix, we have Hulu, all these streaming services out there. And you also have the Empire. You have NBC Universal with their streaming service. You have CBS with All Access. All these different types of ways that we can consume things makes it really awesome for us living in this time in which we live in. That's why I am so happy to have with me on the show today the man who's responsible for making stars and creating stars, Mike Williams. Mike, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Glad
Mike,
to be here.
It's an honor to have you. I've seen you on television many times before talking about just the responsibility that you had in creating a lot of the people that we see on TV and listening here. And Mike, what is it like being here at CES?
Well, it's really a great moment being here because I realized when I first started my business back in 1985, I didn't have a computer, didn't have a cell phone, didn't have all the little things that are now just, a part of everyday living. That makes life so much easier and business so much smoother. And when I realized that there was a time when I didn't have access to the global reach that I do now have access to, it makes everything that much more better in terms of advancing my business, my footprint, and basically the empire that I started, back in 1985 with the first organized black comedy club and chain in the country, which produced that greatest, really, the greatest generation of black comedians, like Jamie Foxx, Chris Tucker, Monique Samore, Bruce Earthquake, Martin Lawrence, D.L. Hughley, the Wayans family, Sinbad. The list goes on, but when I realized that technology at that time was not there, just imagine how much further, things would be had it been there. But obviously everything is in time.
And tell me about it, Mike. Back then when it came time to promote your acts or the talent that you found, how did you have to do that? We live in a digital age now. Now you can send clips, you can send emails and all these other things. How did you do it back then? Because you did it great, you did it well. You're responsible for a lot of the acts that we see on TV and film today.
Right.
How did you do it?
Well, for the most part, I hustled. I wanted to make it happen. I saw that I had the ability to make it happen. And I really willed a lot of things into existence with the sheer faith that I had in the belief that I could do it. So, back then all I had was a telephone, stamps, paper, and envelopes to mail stuff out, beating the streets, just talking everything up, to everybody. And the real advantage that I had at that time was there was nobody else doing what I was doing. And so a simple idea of what would it be like if black people had their own clubs and comedians had a home in which they could, now, do what they do. Meaning just be a human being, and express themselves without, somebody telling them, oh, you're too black, or can you tone it down, or we're not trying to really invite, your audience to our establishment. So really I had an open door and just really a clear path to just produce and make it happen.
And Mike, I think back of the acts that you discovered. One of my favorites was Robin Harris.
Right.
And I remember when I was watching Unsung, and I remember you being on that episode as well too, and talking about just about Robin being just a transformational talent.
Right.
And just Robin was one of those, he can talk and make you laugh. He don't even have to tell a joke. Just him telling a story would make you laugh. And,
right.
And when you first met him, what was like kind of your first impression of Robin when you first met him?
Well, I actually met Robin 5 years before I started my business, just that one time. And there was something about him that made me feel like he was special right at that very moment. And what that special feeling was that he was really more of a, shall I say, a generational connection going back, almost to the time that we arrived on the shores, because he had so much black culture just emanating out of his pores, so to speak. And he was more so like everybody's mother, father, uncle, cousin, the four-eyed fat friend at school. He was just a combination of everything. And what I realized, and it wasn't really until I started, the actual club, and I got in contact with him 2 weeks before that. I didn't need to audition him. I just basically said, hey, this is an opportunity to realize your dreams. Because, and I have to go back a second and say that I wanted to create, or shall I say, start a force in the entertainment industry with black comedians. And one of the key comedians at the time I thought would help with that was Paul Mooney.
Oh, I love Paul Mooney.
Because he was already connected to the entertainment industry, and he was already connected to black, entertainment industry. So I figured that'd be an easier way. So when I called Paul and said, hey, I'm starting a black comedy club, and I would love for you to be my host, and he just abruptly said, I don't want to, and hung up on me. And that's what opened the door really for Robin Harris, because that's who I wanted anyway. Mm-hmm. And so the night that I started was the night that we saw each other again. And I just told him, hey, this is the night for you to shine. And all I did was get out of his way. Wow. I gave him some basic instructions as to what to tell the people why we are here tonight. And once I stepped out of his way, magic just hit. And all I can say is the rest is history, so to speak.
Yes, it is.
He just proved to be that one missing ingredient that black America didn't realize it was, like not getting. And that was our ability to have our daily dose of comedy or laughter whenever we wanted it. Because there was a time when we just couldn't say, oh, let's go, laugh and go see our favorite comedians. There was a time when you couldn't say that because there was no place for that to happen. And that's what I brought to the table.
Wow, I love it. And being in California, the LA scene, Hollywood scene, I remember it growing up, your club, and just hearing some of the things coming out. I was too young to get in at the time, but
sorry about that.
I heard some of the great stories and things like that. But and that's one thing I really like about just where we're at in the stream of time with technology now, with the Netflix, the Hulu, all the streaming services. How does that help really achieve the objective for you to find new talent or to get talent out there so that the masses can see, and not be in that confined box where the big brothers say, no, we don't want to put that on the air, But now with these streaming services now, you can do what you want.
Right.
How does that help out?
Well, what it does more than anything, it just brings more talent to the table. It brings more individuals that aren't just, talent, but writers, producers, director. It gives them the ability to do things without somebody having to tell them, no, we're not looking for that, or, we're not really interested. In other words, there's no way anybody can stop anybody from doing whatever they want to do. And what's really more important than anything is the fact that there's an international community of now comedians who have seen what has happened in, here in America. And I'm talking about countries like Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Malawi. There's a thriving community of comedians, and there are some of those that are multimillionaires just based on the fact that they have their own little lock on their own little lane in their respective countries. But we're able to tap into all that. And the goal for me now is for us to collaborate. Because even though the countries that I identified are English-speaking countries, but still the culture and the accent is a little off for some of us.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, how can we globally connect everybody so we start to really understand and just widen that black community that much more? So that's what I'm gearing up for, and that's why I'm here at CES, because eventually we're going to see these things just shrink. And then it's going to be like it's always been here, even though this is still the genesis of things coming together. But one day we won't even fathom it. It will just be automatic.
Absolutely. And let's talk about just breaking the mold when it comes to how Hollywood perceives black comedian and black talent out there, because I kind of dealt with it similarly when I got out of broadcasting school.
Okay.
I had like a double negative. I was African American plus disabled, so I was kind of like the enigma out there.
Right.
Stations didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know, well, are we going to have to help them in the bathroom? We have to do all these different things. But to talk about shattering the mold and the idea of what Hollywood thought black actors, black comedians, to where we're at today, where everything's accepted. You see like different shows on streaming and even on networks now. It's more accepted now. We can say what we want to say. We can be ourselves.
Right.
We don't have to have this perception of we have these two educated parents that went to college, but that's not the black America I grew up in.
Right.
You know what I mean? You had one family where the father worked hard, and then you had the mom maybe staying at home with a part-time job helping out the family. But now we see all these stories being told either on streaming service or on networks now. Talk about how refreshing that is, and being instrumental in breaking that mold on what Hollywood thought we should be.
Well, when I think about my upbringing, I started with the civil rights, movement, then the Black Power movement, and then next thing you know, Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and crew are singing "We Are the World," and you really understand the generations are moving forward. So the experiences that I had and the generation before me had, now the generations in front aren't having those issues. When it comes to race and gender, references, and so the individuals that were once in charge of making the decisions, they've changed.
Yes.
They've opened their eyes, and they've, in other words, it's just a growing population, and so everybody has to, tap into that lane of making sure they get their little niche, because the population is going to keep going regardless. There's nothing to stop, the growth of the population of folks. And I think more than anything, we just come to the reality that everybody got to, step with it or be left behind, so to speak. And so, like I say, you got a generation that used to be in charge. They're not in charge anymore.
Yeah.
So you got a lot more liberal, thinking people, a lot more open thinking people. And so things that just really open up and expose themselves to the reality of it's a new day.
It is. It's a refreshing new day, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Now, Mike, you've discovered a lot of comedians out there, a lot of great talent. Are you a pretty funny guy yourself, too? Can you tell some funny jokes, too? Or are you one of the ones that be like, oh, no, I ain't going to joke around like that?
For the most part, I've heard a lot of funny stuff, but that ain't my lane,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my lane.
Mike said, I discovered a talent who can tell me the funny jokes. Yeah, absolutely. So, Mike, before I let you go, anything else out there you'd like to articulate to the audience, to the viewer out there, or how can they continue to catch up with you with the great work that you're doing out there, discovering this great talent?
Well, first and foremost, they can reach me by going to my website, comedyactplanet.com, or Facebook or Instagram. For talent, let me just speak to the talent right now. If you're looking to have a career and you're serious about having a career, contact me, because I produced, again, the greatest generation of black comedians ever to come out of a generation at one time. And I'm looking to do that again. But I'm also looking to do that with the global international connection of talent, because, again, we need to connect with each other. And again, technology is making it easier for us, to not have to, write letters and wait for, somebody to, contact us that way. WhatsApp, you can just call me now, with no issue. And so, really, I'm just excited that I'm here again at CES, and I just look forward to growing with the technology.
Well, Mike, I am honored to sit in front of Hollywood royalty, man. What you were able to do with the talent. I mean, it transformed TV comedy that we see today. You look at Jamie right now hosting television shows.
Right.
You know, who would have thought when you first saw Jamie that he would do that? But I'm sure you probably saw that in his talent. You probably said, Jamie can do anything. DL doing things. And what Robin did and all the other ones that you saw what they were able to become, and you helped grow that.
Right.
So I tell you, if it wasn't for you, man.
Well, you know, when I saw that, I knew it was just a matter of time, because again, it wasn't so much me having to convince anybody. It was really just setting up the opportunity for everybody to come in and see. Because even Hollywood at the time rejected the notion that black comedy would work. I mean, they actually told me, you know, in the beginning that I wasn't worthy of a program because it wasn't enough black comedians. Right. They really didn't think that they were really all that funny. And the guy that was my host, they really couldn't understand him, and that was Robin Harris. Mm-hmm. All the while, I got a line trying to get in. Mm-hmm. I got people running out of their seats, can't take it anymore, you know, from just laughing so hard. And it was just, like I say, just months to a year later, you know, before the light came on, and they said, if we don't get our slice, our competitors will.
Absolutely.
And that's when you just saw a boatload of the industry coming, picking off one at a time, you know, all the top talent. And when you think about that generation, that was the explosion of television sitcoms, mm-hmm. the explosion of movies, the explosion of comedy tours that blacks dominate to this day. There was no such thing as comedy concerts mm-hmm. like it is today. And so, in a way, that's what kind of killed the black comedy clubs, because why do a show for a couple of $1,000s when you can get $50,000 the same night?
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, and you can't discount, you know, the math. You know, I mean, these are careers that people want to have, and they want to be successful, and everybody wants to dream. Yeah. So you just have to kind of figure out how to, you know, still get your piece.
That was the great Michael Williams. And this month, Michael is going to be honored in Los Angeles at City Hall for his contributions to comedy and the LA area. So congratulations to you, Michael. It was great meeting you, great talking to you, and great chatting with you face to face. All right. So when we get back, we're going to talk about some help out there for you DIYers out there, and how a particular piece of innovation can help those products to keep your frustration at a minimum. Just a minute. Be right back, right after this message.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.